Sonic Software Planning.
A fierce battle with Dark Dragon ensued when the Runefaust army invaded. With the heroics of Max and the Shining Force, Dark Dragon was defeated. The victors returned to their normal lives, vowing for renewed peace. Some disappeared, some left for further adventure, and some returned to their homes and families. And Anne-Ree returned to her kingdom as the Queen of Guardiana. With help from Ken, Luke, and Lo, they rebuilt the kingdom from the ashes of the Runefaust invasion. The story begins 20 years after.
Hey everybody, welcome to Shining Force CD for the Sega CD. This game is actually available on the Mega CD Mini 2 or the Sega Genesis Mini 2. So that is a good way to play it if you want to play it nowadays. But let's just hop right on in. So, you're interested in the legends of the Shining Force. To awaken Queen Annery, Roog, that's supposed to be Lug, went on an expedition with his force. Wow, what happened next? And that's also misspelled. That bodes well for this version of the game. Yes, Shining Force CD is a compilation of 2 Game Gear games, Shining Force Gaiden as well as Shining Force Gaiden 2, The Sword of Asia, which we actually did get. Which is weird because that's the part 2, and this series kind of has an issue with giving us like all the parts of a game series. It's weird like that. There also was a 3rd Shining Force game on the Game Gear, but that's not in this. But there is 4 tales in this game. You here for a Shining Force book? Here it is! She just holds up a book, it says new game on it. That would actually be really funny if they actually animated that, it just says new game. But yes, there is 4 books. If I hit new game, which Shining Force book do you want to read today? We have Inner Backup and Cartridge. If you're playing on the Mini 2, you don't have to worry about this, but way back when on the Genesis, when you needed the Mega CD add-on, the Sega CD, you would only have this Inner Backup. This cartridge right here was part of, think of it like a memory card, where you gotta pop it into the console in order to have more space. It was called the RAM cart, and you'll pop that into the cartridge slot. You needed this to actually play through the entire CD, which is dumb, because the Inner Backup only allows you to play through Book 1 and Book 2, which is basically Gaiden 1 and Gaiden 2, respectively. If you have the cartridge, you can actually play through Book 3 and 4, which are new to this version of the game. But I'm just gonna pop on the Inner Backup because it doesn't matter where I put it. I just need this extra space so I can actually do the other ones. So we'll just start off with here. Towards the Root of Evil was the first book in the Gaiden saga. Essentially, it's the first Game Gear game. While the Evil God Awakes is the Sword of Asia, which we did get. It's slightly different now because we actually get to finally play the prequel in CD, which, considering this is on the Mini 2, you can actually play that and have the whole story, which is nice, considering you weren't able to have it before. But there's fan translations out there, so you can play through it all anyway. Either way, let's get started. I'll get it for you, just a second. Oh, good old Sega CD load times, loading up the entire game right away. Here it is! What's the hero's name in this tale? The hero's name is Nick. It's blank because you can put whatever you want. Unless you go by the manual, then his name is Thought. Which is hilarious because now knowing what that means nowadays makes it hilarious. But yeah, we're just gonna go with the standard. His name is Nick. which is hilarious because the guiding games have a lot of reused names and just differently translated names here and there, and misspellings all over the place, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, we already know one of them, Lug, or Rug as it was there. In the original game, and even the Shining Force GBA version of that, they mistranslated it as Luke. Oops. Nick, cool name. What difficulty level do you want? We have easy, normal, hard, and super hard. They start you on easy if you want that, but honestly, the first game is rather ridiculously easy as it is anyway. But not that big of a deal. I'm going to go normal. Basically, hard and super hard, they just increase the stats of the enemies, and since the guiding games are just battle after battle after battle, there's no town exploration at all. It's pretty easy to just grind your characters up anyway, so it's going to go to normal. Ah, a little tough. Good. Now let's enjoy the story together. I feel like that's a little sarcastic. Queen Anri! Messengers from Cyprus have arrived at our gates! What? What do they want with us? Your Majesty, they are barbarians. They bring only trouble. Shouts and the clash of armor echoed from the palace gates. Wait here until you are summoned. I've waited long enough. Come on, let's go see Queen Anri. I invoke the Bald spell, level 3! Idiots! Now that they're out of the way, where's the Queen? Halt! In the name of the Queen! Ken bravely stepped forward to guard his queen. How rude! In Cyprus, we have a much different idea of courtesy. Allow me to demonstrate. Dantum for Bell. You think you're a match for me, old man? Let's find out. You Guardiana wimps will grovel before the forces of Cyprus. Ken, Lo, enough! Good sir, please pardon my knight's rudeness. I am Anri, Queen of Guardiana. What is your message? Your apology is accepted. I am Waldo, O Lord of Cyprus. Our king, Edmund the Reluctant, sends this. A token of friendship. As Anri opened the small jeweled box, a black fog engulfed her. Queen Anri! Someone get a healer, now! A mere healer will not help your queen. Queen Anri rests in the eternal sleep. Only King Edmund can waken her. As long as you obey us, we will let her live. With those words, Waldo disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Guardiana sends his best warriors to Cyprus to kill Edmund and save their beloved queen. The army sailed away and was not seen again. It's been over a month since our forces left for Cyprus. We haven't heard a word. They were our best and bravest warriors. If they've lost, maybe Guardiana has lost too. Then we'll have to obey the barbarians. There's no one else to send. Wait! Lo, we decided to go after the lost warriors. Is that you, Roos, the son of Lug? What do you mean, we? Watch this. Bruce whistled. Hey, look! Shade, how's your father, Hans? Missing every single shot he takes. He's fine. He wanted me to come because you don't need an archer. Who's that big monk? It looks like old Gong. Gong is my uncle. He told me of your bravery. He taught me everything I know. My name is Sig, with a space there for some reason. And here's Wendy. Are you going too? Of course. You don't think I'd miss out on all the adventure, do you? Apis, my son, you are not going. It's much too dangerous. Please, father. You know I can handle a sword, and Queen Anri needs us. You want to save Luke, your father, right? Alright, I won't stop you. Bruce, who's this stranger you brought with you? Ken, I am honored to introduce our leader. He's not from Guardiana, but he helped us plan our adventure. Something about your eyes. You remind me of my old friend, Max. No, those days are behind you now. We are the new Shining Force. Only one single day. Yeah, the first game took place in one day. And Nick will guide our way. We are ready to follow him to Cyprus. With your consent, of course. We're old enough, and they're our last hope. I've decided to go with them and help save Queen Anri. So Nick and the Shining Force sailed for Cyprus. They didn't know danger lay in wait for them, just beyond the horizon. Yep, the sons and daughters and sisters and brothers and all that of all the old characters from the first game are protagonists of this game. So that brings us to chapter 1. As you can tell, my voice is kind of a little rough, so my voice acting isn't all there. But 1 week later, on the high seas between Guardiana and Cyprus. Man, they misspelled Guardiana every time, didn't they? Yeah, it's correct in the book, in the manual that came with the game way back when. Yeah, it's annoying reading it and seeing it spelled wrong every single time. Not much of an adventure so far, eh, Apis? It's pretty quiet, alright. Hey, where'd that glowing ball come from? So this is the great Shining Force that will save Guardiana? One won't all be scared when I tell him. Why, you're just a bunch of kids. Don't underestimate them, wizard. It might be the last mistake you ever make. So, Shining Force CD, as you can tell, is a strategy RPG where all the characters move on a little bit of a grid system. Makes it a little bit easier to plan out your stuff. But before I go any further, we'll start off with the basic land effect in the corner there. Just kind of give a little description of how that works. So our characters are kind of weak when it comes to their HP and MP levels. Like they're small numbers in this game. But you see a 15% of land effect. That means I take 15%. I have 15% more defense when I'm standing here. If I'm here, on the other hand, it's 0%. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're moving around the field. But before I even bother moving around the field, I'm going to do something a little bit actually useful. See all these animations and how like fancy they are. They take a little bit of time to happen. I'm going to get rid of that immediately because it's annoying. So I'm going to go to speed and I'm going to set it to fast and no display. Well, yes, this doesn't get rid of the stuff right away. What I could do is I could hit quit. And basically you'll suspend your game. It makes a save right there. So this actually really helped on the Game Gear. You could just suspend your game and then turn it off. But it brings us right back to here. And it's just like, oh, hey, you're done with the game. This is the point where you can just turn off your game. You know it's saved at this point. You're good to go. If we don't bother doing that, or if we just soft reset from here, it'll bring us right back to the usual screens. I could just click start and then just go through this. Like so. Just load our game up really quick and hit continue and go back to our save. There we go. And what this allows us to do is all the animations are gone now. We basically activated a turbo mode. It's very, very helpful considering those minute little animations just make it go a little slow and it's kind of annoying. So I'm going to do that from the get-go just so we're aware. But first, let's start off with the map on our field. This is our battlefield that we're dealing with. You can kind of see a couple tiles here and there. That's just the water moving around, stuff like that. I don't know why it's like that. It's a little glitchy. But you can kind of just see the entire field, whatever you need to. I mean, it's not really necessary considering you just do this and just check out the field. But you might be able to miss some enemies here and there. They might blend in with the background, like this blue guy right here. Might blend in with the water, that kind of thing. But yeah, let's actually go take a look at our characters. We'll start off with the swordsman Nick, who uses swords. These are mid-game weapons and equipment, so our stats are a little bit higher up than they should be. And we also get some medical herbs so we can heal as well, making this battle pretty dang easy, for lack of a better way of putting it. And if we check out all the other characters, we can tell that they also have mid-range equipment, axes, spears, sticks, all that kind of goodness, all that stuff. Gloves, as well as still arrows. Yeah, everybody has good equipment right now, which is really nice. Knowing that, let's go into their stats. So, start off with Nick, swordsman, level 1. He is our hero of the story. He doesn't really talk much. He's a swordsman stock standard fare, as you can tell, so he uses swords. But he also has Ingress, which allows him to flee battles at the cost of 8 MP. Which is nice considering we have 8 MP from the get-go. But that's not the only way you can flee battles. It's nice to have. So, let me pull up these stats on the side here. As you may be slightly confused, I have a bunch of letterings on each one here. We have HP, MP, attack, defense, and agility. And then we have a promotion thing where it says before promo and then after promo, and a bunch of different letters. That's explained on the side. I'm going to pop that up every single character because it might get confusing. And honestly, it's not really a ranking system per se. It's just how their stats grow. So for each level up, you have different ways of them going. You have little, slow, average, fast, late, early, and middle. Little, basically, growth is little to none. Don't worry about it. You're probably not going to get that stat anyway. If it's just has like a dash on it, you're not getting that stat, period. But if it's slow, but it's usually lower gains, but you still will get it a little bit better than little. Average is pretty much you're just average, you're just getting it as is. Fast, you get those stats immediately. That's your good stat. So if you see a D on something, that's basically going to be your really good one. C is also nice in that regard though. E is late. Basically, stats start off going slow. You basically don't get any, and then they turn to fast later. And then F will be the other way around with it going from fast to slow. While G, on the other hand, middle, growth starts out kind of fast after level 6. But before that, it's like kind of average to slow, give or take. This is all random, so it might not even be that, but this is generally the general results. So Nick actually has some pretty decent HP as well as defense. His HP does take a little bit to get in there, but after that, it's like, oh, hey, he's really good. He starts off weak, but he will get better. He's the hero of the group. That's basically how he is. When it comes to Roos, though, on the other hand, Roos is a great starting tank and a pretty good protector of your mages and things like that. He has really great defenses, and with just going in there with his axe, he's just like, oh, hey, just and you do a lot of damage pretty well. Problem is that there are better versions of him in this game, but it is a good starting tank, so that is nice for having a warrior this early on, so why not? Our next one, however, will be... Where's Shade? There's Shade. Shade! Archers use bows, of course, and they attack from range, so you got some pretty decent goodness out of that. The difference is that they suck on defense. And in this case, Shade kinda has that stereotype of having pretty bad defenses. But protect them and you're good to go. Next is Sig, our monk, our healer. As you can tell, we have magic heal, which allows us to heal pretty much people on the field with a range of 1. He also has a power glove, which allows him to attack. He has some pretty decent attack out of the monks in this game. It's just that he's also a healer, so you don't want him always in the front. Let's move on to our next one. Our next one will be Wendy, a resident mage who uses rods and staves and also has blades, which is actually a pretty decent magic. It's not the best thing around, it's a nice starting thing, and a lot of enemies do resist it a little bit, but you do get better stuff later on. The downfall of mages, and mostly Wendy since her defense growth is rather slow, is that you need somebody like Roos or even Apis to protect her. Apis is a knight, as well as a centaur, which means he has some pretty decent movement, but that also gets affected by land masses such as mountains and forests, which can be a problem, but since he has lances and spears as his weapons, lances are inherently stronger than spears. Lances have a range of 1, while spears have a range of 2, so you kind of have to mix and match. Get a good playstyle out of it. There are better knights than Apis, though. He's a good starting one. Speaking of starting, we should probably get started, shall we? Basically, what we want to do is just kind of move maybe a little bit closer, not get too far. We can cast magic, we can attack. As you can tell, we can basically see our outline of how far these things can go if we go to use it, but we don't necessarily need to use it. We can also go to item and use, equip, and things like that. In this case, I do want these equipped. I want that and this as well. Keeping that in mind, protect rings are really great items. If you go to use under items, you can actually use accessories. And the protect ring allows you to cast boost, which will raise your defense as well as your speed. This changes throughout the games, like sometimes it's attack and defense. It's weird, like I don't know why they change it. But in this case, it's speed and defense. Accessories are important items though, so if you wind up dropping them for any reason, you can buy them in the deal shop later, which is kind of nice, and we can exploit this fact. Just keep that in mind for later in this battle. So, we want them on now, considering everything in the field at the current moment will destroy us if we don't have them on, because they are pretty mid-range level monsters. Let's just have a couple of them go a little bit closer, and we can see how combat works. So they're attacking Wendy with some magic, because it is magic and it does do a lot of damage. So just keeping that in mind, we're actually going to go and attack back. We'll just start off with Blaze, our weakest magic that we have, but we could just go like this and attack something from far away, like so. Pretty simple, pretty easy, and then we keep going. But before we go any further, let's actually take a look at what we're dealing with. So, the Incubus is a thing that attacked us already. It pretty much will be doing magic. His attack is pretty good and defenses are kind of high. They are mid-level enemies after all. Same thing with these bats right over here. These huge bats, I should say. Pretty much they're just standard bog basic enemies. This is a tutorial battle in the grand scheme of things, so it's not even that big of a deal. There is a lot of them, though. We are dealing with 9 enemies. This is the one we need to watch out for, the Dark Mage. He has a weapon, but that's not why we need to watch out for him. He has Blaze level 2, and he has some pretty good stats to boot, so we kind of might want to make sure that when we go in there with a purpose. So this battle could actually be useful for leveling up your characters and things like that, because we could go in there and just attack things and get 49 experience per. These things will give us 49 experience per for quite some time, because they're higher level enemies than they need to be for this point, which is kind of hilarious, and they didn't really think about that, but oh well. Sometimes though you just get less because you might use magic and you just do less damage. Your experience kind of depends on how much damage you actually do. Speaking of damage and defenses and all that, I'm actually going to use our Protect Ring because the Protect Ring has a T shape in what it can hit, so everybody's going to get a little bit of a buff. And there we go. You see some stuff going on right over here. It doesn't tell us what it does yet because I believe I forgot to turn that back on, but we get experience for using that all the time. Speaking of, let me turn that back on. So let me go to speed and then go to, go to here. And that way I still keep my like speedy stuff, but I can actually see information on what's going on. So that's actually kind of nice. So we're just gonna move over here, make sure that everybody's kind of tight knit together. I'm gonna move you over here and then attack like so. One hit was all it took for that. Yeah, having good weapons this early on is nice. All right, and since Wendy kind of took a big hit, I'm going to use heal on Wendy right over here and get some experience. There's kind of a little flaw in the system with these Protect Rings though, because you could use them and get experience every single time you use them. So it effectively only takes like 5 uses of it in order to level up, because you only need 100 experience to level up. These rings crack. They do. They aren't programmed to break though, because it's the first battle. So you could effectively just spam them constantly, because these enemies will not come to you at all until you get close. So you don't even have to worry about that. You could actually level up your characters stupidly high in the first battle alone, and then just go in there and just wreck them. It's a little bit of a weird quirk, making this game a little easy, especially since it's an exploit, but rings are normally supposed to break when you use them like that. If they do the crack thing after you use, like, say I'd use boost a ton of times and it's like, it cracked, it could possibly break, and then you have to repair it before it actually breaks, because if you use it too much, it'll crack, and then it can break if you use it again. There's a possibility. It's like a random thing. But yeah, these ones just don't. I don't know why. I think it's just a programming thing, like they forgot to, or it's a tutorial thing, I'm not sure. All right, and let's see. Now that those enemies are gone, we can actually start moving downward. What we can do is move all our characters forward and kind of bait the enemies to attack us. Like in this case, sometimes they will go after Nick since he's the leader, and if you lose the leader, you lose the battle. Not a game over or anything, you just kind of have to redo the battle from the start. But I'm going to set Nick here to try to bait the enemies to attack him. But sometimes they just go after other enemies like that for some reason. Mainly, I think it's just because Roos has like less health, so they went after him. The AI is just kind of stupid sometimes. Like that one attack to Nick, it makes sense. He's the leader, let's do that. But, okay, he's asleep. That's awesome. Great. Now I have to wait for him to wake up. Basically, I have no turns with him. He's at the wait until he wakes up until I can do something. It's a little annoying, but oh well. I guess I'll just have Shade attack for now, and just have to wait for Nick and all. And get a little bit of experience out of it. In the meantime, Roos is actually about to go down, so I might want to make sure I can do something about that. In this case, I can't use magic because I'm out of MP. So what I got to do is I got to use medical herb, like so. There we go. And now I'm just gonna go right over here. Just kind of stay a little bit away so I can do a little bit of damage to this bat. But hopefully not baiting it towards Wendy in general, like the Incubus right there, maybe. Let's see how this works. In the meantime, Abyss has got to do something, so I gotta have him attack him. There we go. There we go, and now we just have a couple enemies to deal with, and Nick is still asleep, so that's kind of annoying. I'm gonna have to deal with that, but I'm gonna send you over here to attack this. Get rid of it. I really don't know why this game says quickness and not agility when you use boost. It's weird because it's agility. I mean, it does make sense a little bit because agility is technically quickness, but it's annoying because the stat is called agility. Not quickness. Either way, you can tell that it is wearing off after a couple turns. Speaking of stats, though, and raising and lowering and all that, there is an easy way to tell how much damage you're going to be doing. So if we see, like, Abyss's attack with 25 versus a defense at 12, we can go in there and just kind of do the math and figure out exactly how much damage we're going to be doing. It's a nice strategy if you want to plan ahead when it comes to that, but I'm not going to be sitting there mathing every single defense and attack and all that. It just takes way too much time. Either way, I believe this should, get me a level up. Ooh, that was a nice one. They called agility quickness there as well. That's kind of annoying. I still don't know why that's a thing because it says agility. It's just like, why? Just have it say agility. I think people know what the word agility means. Either way, let's see. What should I do now? Maybe I could just use another boost because it's still experience. Just get more defenses and quickness, I should say. I am stalling a small amount because I do want Nick to wake up. He better wake up. Can you, like, not put him to sleep again? Okay, you got 2 attacks off. Some enemies can get 2 attacks off on you. It's random when it happens. Just keep in mind that it can happen because there's no real way to actually tell if it's going to. And it sucks when it's like, oh, hey, I just got attacked twice and Nick died. Fun. Like I said before, though, you don't get a game over in this game, so you don't have to worry if that winds up happening. You just restart the battle. Then you get more levels. All right, you got 3 enemies to deal with. We can move closer. I'm gonna see if I can bait the bats. Okay, not yet. I do want to stay in a little bit of a pattern, like a checkerboard style thing where people aren't gridded up in a T shape. Because Blaze level 2 hits in a T shape, just like Boost level 1 does. You don't want to be hit with 5 different characters because you had them all in a T shape. The enemies will abuse that. They will notice and they will go for it if they have the possibility of doing so. If they can hit more targets, they will do it. Thankfully enough, we have the Protect Rings, so it's not going to be that big of a deal, and the mage can only cast Blaze level 2 one time in this battle, so we don't have to worry about it that much. But just keep that in mind and have your units spread out. Not too spread out because you might need to heal them, of course. We're not a big deal so far. We baited them forward, and we can actually sit there and use attacks. We'll just swing that sword, dude. Decent chunk of damage. Get some experience out of it. You, on the other hand, I could actually attack something, but I'm just gonna hit stay for now. You actually attack this bat so you can get some more experience. There we go, now you're level 2. There we go, and you're already level 2, so I could attack this bat and get rid of it, but I'm gonna sit you right here for now. I don't want to, basically, I don't want to have my characters be like mismanaged in their levels at the moment, especially since I want to get rid of this guy over in the corner over here, this mage. I don't want him just destroying everybody, but making sure that everybody's like good is all good. I just realized I put my characters in a T shape and the dark mage decided to not abuse that back. Thank you, game, for being stupid. I mean, it's fine either way, but it is kind of annoying that I just said that's what he would do and he wound up not doing it. Because of course. Alright, well, let's see. I think I kind of want to just progress forward like this. Just have everybody make sure he doesn't do it. Let's see. Yes. He did decide to be stupid back still, which is fine. So he did Blaze level 2, which nearly destroyed Apis, but he only hit one person. So that's not that bad. And what I can actually start doing now is just start doing some little bits of damage on him because he does have 20 health. That's a lot more than everything else in this battle. So just go in there and whack him a couple times. But with Sig, I should definitely heal Apis because the Dark Mage will definitely go for the kill. And leveling up healers is kind of hard to do, honestly, because they don't really have too many options. Healers are notoriously hard to actually level just because you need to be healing, and sometimes you can go up and like punch stuff depending on what kind of healer it is. But 9 times out of 10, you want to be healing, so just get out any heals you can get, and they will get experience out of it. There you go, get some of that going. And now I want Nick to get a good hit in there. I'm gonna move you over here. Yeah, swing in there. And now what I'm going to do, instead of actually just killing him right away, I'm going to just hit stay with everybody until I know that he goes. So we have an idea of who's last. And he's pretty much out of magic now, so he's just going to be bonking somebody, so not that big of a deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to abuse the system just slightly. What we're going to do is we're going to hit drop on this thing. Yes, I lose it, and I also lose out on the defense that I get when I discard it. I can't get it back right away. I have to buy them. So it's not that big of a deal. You have to buy them later on with money, and you need to get the money to buy them anyway. So we'll just do that. So yes, I don't have it anymore. And keeping that in mind, our defenses now suck when you lose it. So just keep that in mind. And since all you can really do now is bonk, I'm just going to hit stay. And then I'm going to do another, let's just get rid of all our stuff now kind of deal. I don't necessarily need to do it with everybody, just like maybe a couple, since there's probably no way I can afford to like buy them all again. It's, why not? Not equip, not equip. Let's go items, drop, protect ring. Yes. This may seem really weird to you, but it is a viable strategy. Speedrunners will do this, but it's not as big of an exploit as you may think it is because they cost a decent penny to buy anyway. So I may lose them now, but I may only be able to afford like one of them. So it's not that big of a deal, honestly. But it is nice to have just because there's not that much accessories in this game anyway. So just make it so you have more accessories to be able to use. It's fine. But since now that everybody dropped the rings, we're good to go, I can actually end this battle with Nick. There we go, and we're done. And now Nick gets level 2 as well. He gets some pretty decent stats out of it. You may be fine warriors, but you'll never see the shores of Cyprus. Join me now in death. He's gone! He took half our hull with him! Everybody, overboard! Swim for that island over there! I have no idea how I was able to cast Blaze when he had no MP, but we're getting off this boat! Nick, come on, Nick, snap out of it. Look, everyone, he's okay. We've lost all our supplies and weapons, but we survived. Womp womp. Yeah, we lost everything, except for those protect rings that we knowingly threw overboard beforehand. I don't know how exactly that works, per se. But I guess it works. I have no idea, but whatever. Hope we don't run into any Cypress soldiers. Why did you say that? Stop! Let me go! You're too pretty to stay here in wilderness. I think I'll take you back to Cyprus with me. No, I'll die first! Stop right there, you Cyprus pigs. Please, get me out of here. This is none of your business, stranger. Leave before you get hurt. Arm yourselves, everyone. Search the ground. Use rocks, sticks, anything. Yes, they're actually going to go over a mechanic really quick, which I can just kind of give you like a little bit of a preview of. All you got to do is just, instead of sitting with stay, it's going to say search. If there's something on the ground beneath you, you'll be able to search and find an item. In this case, everyone has an item underneath them. You can just grab it and you get the item. So in this case, I hit search and I find a wooden arrow. 1 arrow. That means I have a hobo. We just need to do the same for everybody else. Next time Azure plays more Shining Force CD, we're going to enter our second battle and see how things change a little bit. See you all then.